My name is Jason Creel and you're watching The Lawn Care Life. Today I'm going to share with you a lesson that I learned from watching one of Brian Shain's videos on top-notch lawn care. Stay tuned, I'll tell you what I learned, and hopefully it's something you can apply in your own situation. I'm like a lot of you probably. I'll sit around and maybe watch a few YouTube videos, and I don't get to watch that many of the other lawn care people out there, but I did see the one recently. Brian Shain did one. When I see a video that has a lot of views, sometimes I want to watch it. I'm like, you know, why is everybody watching this video? So Brian did one recently that was something along the lines of that he had failed in his business. And one, I know Brian. He came to my conference last year. I got to spend some time with him and enjoyed being with him. Brian's real down-to-earth, approachable guy. He's got a lot of good business sense and good common sense. So I wanted to know what, you know, I wanted to hear how he failed in his business, what he was going to do different. So I watched the video. As a side note, Brian's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. They got a game tomorrow against the Patriots to have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Brian probably had to call in sick to work yesterday. He was so nervous about the game. But he could, you know, if he got tickets to the game and could take his shirt off and paint up his chest in the freezing cold weather with some kind of top notch and a YouTube symbol, that might be a good promotional idea. As I watched Brian's business, he talked about what he was looking to do different this coming year. A lot of it had to do with reducing overhead. You might have saw another video he did where he was cleaning out his shop and he was reducing his amount of equipment he was using. He was reducing his labor force and going to go back to being solo or maybe just with one helper or something like that. But really restructuring the way he runs his business. And I applaud him for being able to recognize a flaw in his business and to be able to make those changes. That takes a lot of courage, and I hope it works out well with him. But the thing that I walked away from, and this wasn't even necessarily the main point of the video, but he talked about getting back to his ideal customer. You know, because he talked about taking on a bunch of extra work or some work for the government and other projects, you know, but it wasn't his ideal customer. And that's something that I've been thinking about lately as I deal with customers, some ideal, some not so ideal. And what I'm going to do is talk to you about my specific situation, my ideal customer, and then I'm going to have a little quiz for you that we can play so that you can see if you can recognize what an ideal customer is and what is not an ideal customer. Let me start by saying I think ideal is a little bit of a strong word. Not that we got to change the word, but there are very few customers going to be like perfect customers that have no flaws. You know, let me prepay for the whole year, give you tips, have no problems, never complain, never do anything wrong. You know, that's going to be, if you just limited to just those customers, you might not have but like 3 for your whole business. So I don't necessarily have to have an ideal customer, but there's some less than ideal ones that we need to address, and I'm going to talk about that as well. Now, I had a situation come up recently where I had a customer who is perpetually late on his bills. That's something I've really been trying to crack down on at the beginning of the year, the ones that pay late, to make them put a credit card on file, make them prepay, whatever I need to do to stop spending as much time collecting. We've talked about that, but this particular customer, you know, I'm doing mostly weed control and fertilization, okay? So my normal program is 7 applications per year. Well, when I first started, I took on some customers that were less than 7 applications a year. And this particular customer, I'm not sure what I was thinking on the day I accepted to do this, but I actually agreed just to do 2 applications per year on his lawn. Now, he lives in a very convenient location. It's not far away, it's not out of the way. I'm just doing his front yard. I charge him $44 per application. So for those of you who are challenged at math, we're talking about a grand total of $88 per year. Well, that's fine. You know, it's a customer, like I said, it's not a big deal. But I feel like I gave him a really good rate, and then only doing it twice a year. And to be honest with you, for 2 treatments a year, his lawn looks really good, and I've got photo evidence of it. I'm not going to show it on this video, but I have got photo evidence that his yard looks really good, and I think anybody that had an unbiased opinion could agree to me. Well, I called the customer recently, and I told you I'm sort of cracking down on people that are paying late, and he's one that he always pays, but I only get two 2 checks a year from him, and I almost always have to remind him, and it's frustrating. It really is. So I mean, you go do the yard, that's one thing, but then if you got to take time to resend the invoice, text him, email him, and then finally get a check and take it to the bank, it's like, you know, this is really not worth $88 a year. So I also do one little commercial property that's out of the way, and I usually have to do it on a Saturday because of the specific location of it. And I only was charging $30. It's very tiny property. In my mind, I said, you know what? I'm going up on this price. I went up on some other people's price. I said, I'm going to charge him $50 on his yard instead of $44, and I'm charging $35 on that other property to bring the price, not to go crazy on the prices, but to bring them really in line with where they should be anyway. And not to mention, I'm just doing 2 applications. So I called him. I said, hey, you know, I've made some price increases in my business this year, and I just want to let you know that your price went from 44 to 50. The other prices went from 30 to 35, and I was just wanting to check with you to see if that's something you still wanted to continue service. I've just been doing 2 applications a year. I can still do that if that's what you want to do. So here was his response. He's like, well, to be honest with you, Jason, he said, I will do it. You know, I'll do it again, but I just don't know if I'm really seeing the results. You know, I'm paying money and my neighbor's not paying money, and it's just, I guess we'll try it one more year and see how it goes. And in my mind, I'm thinking, and like I said, I know where his yard is, okay, I treat it, and I know what his yard looks like, and I know what his neighbor's yard looked like, and the reason I called him was because I was in the neighborhood. I was going to see if I could go by and treat it that day. But I went by to look at it just to see if I could see a difference in his yard and the neighbor's. And like I said, I went in and took a photo, but I'm not going to put it on here. But there is no doubt in my mind that his yard looks at least 100 times better than his neighbor's yard. His neighbor's yard was totally covered with weeds. His yard had like 1 or 2 wild onions popping up and was virtually clean. I mean, it was a very nice looking yard, particularly considering the few applications that he has. Maybe you can sense from the video, I just don't have a lot of patience for people doing that when I know I'm giving them a break and giving them a good price, and they're late on everything, and they want to try to say, well, I just don't know, you know, because to be honest with you, I could care less if he would have canceled, because sometimes, and I was talking to somebody about this recently, I was saying, I almost want them to cancel so that they can find out they're not going to get this deal from anybody else ever again. When they go get another quote and they say, yeah, it's going to be 9 applications at $60 a piece, their $88 annual bill just went up to over $500 a year, and then I'll say, okay, well, how you like it now? You know, and I'm not coming back. You know, you lost me. You blew it. You had a chance and you blew it because you whined about your yard when you were paying $88 a year. Since my feelings toward the situation on this video, but I had one more surprise up my sleeve for him after he agreed to it. I said, well, you know what? I said, I wanted to also see if you would mind leaving a check at the time of service. I said, I've had, you know, in the past, I've had to email you, text you to be able to get paid, and you've always paid, but I think it would just be easier if you would go ahead and leave a check, and that way it would be done for. And he said, yeah, I checked with my wife, and I was seeing, did we ever pay that last one? And she said we did, and he kind of left it at that. And I was like, well, yeah, you did pay it, but from now on, I want to see if you don't mind leaving a check. I just kind of went through my spiel again. Yeah, you did pay it. I mean, it was 3 months late, but yeah, you did pay it after I sent you, you know, and I didn't say all that, but I was like, yeah, but from now on, I want to see if you can leave a check. And I said, I can come by do it today. You know, I'm in the area. And he said, well, I wouldn't be able to do it today, but if you'll just let me know, yeah, I can do that. I can leave a check, and you know, we can go from there. So anyway, he agreed to it. And like I said, I don't even think it's going to be a situation where I'm going to spray it and then get the check. It's going to be a situation where I get the check and then I'll spray it. You know, because I'm not taking any chances with somebody that does me that way and tries to. And here's the problem. I mean, like I said, I took on a 2 treatment a year customer when I was starting off, and I don't take those anymore. And I'm changing him around to fit in my schedule, and it's either going to work or he can go somewhere else. It doesn't matter. Here's the problem with some business owners and some customers, and it's this. They think that let's say from the business owner's part first, the business owner thinks that they are doing the customer a favor by providing a service for them. I don't believe that's true. And a lot of customers think they're doing the business a favor by being their customer. Like, Mr. Jason, who runs the lawn care service, I'm doing you a favor by letting you provide service for my lawn at this price. I don't think either side is true. I think, and I feel very strongly about this, that in almost every situation, business relationship, from an employer-employee relationship, it has to be mutually beneficial to really last, okay? If the customer doesn't feel like they're getting a quality service for a fair price, they can go find it somewhere else. That's why, and I'm a free market fanatic. I just love it. But at the same time, if a customer is not a good fit for a business, and let's in this situation say a lawn care provider is not finding that that customer is really benefiting their business, it doesn't bother me one bit to get rid of them and go take care of all the other hundreds of customers that are out there and go find somebody else. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I honestly feel like in the springtime when a customer loses me, and it's not boastful or anything, but I feel like I can replace that customer a lot faster than they can replace me, because I'll get another call by the end of the day and I'll go have that person signed up. I mean, that's the way it works sometimes. So that's why when they want to put a guilt trip on you, I'm paying you $88 every year, 3 months past due, after you remind me 4 times that my bill's due. Isn't that a favor I'm doing you, Mr. Lawn Care Provider? I'm like, no, that's not a favor doing me. Matter of fact, you're gonna start leaving it on time every time, and the price just went up. You know, and like I said, they blew the opportunity. I would have kept doing it at the cheap price if they'd have just not complained and pay the bill. They'd have had it cheap, and I would just kept doing it. You know, whether I'd have went up or not, I don't know, but I mean, it would have been better. But like I said, they're lost in my opinion. So let's get back to ideal customer. I think I've established this person does not fit in the ideal category. So I'm gonna do a little quiz here. We're gonna go over a few customer situations, and you just tell me, ideal, not ideal, okay? We're gonna quiz it on the video. Here we go. And again, when I say ideal, not every customer is gonna be just completely perfect. We're not looking for the perfect customer, but I mean, will they fit into what you're looking for as a customer? So let me give you an easy one to start off with. Homeowner has 4 large dogs in a small backyard, and she doesn't like cleaning up after the dogs. And so there are a lot of problem areas in the backyard from the 4 large dogs that never get cleaned up after. And you're mowing grass in that lawn. Is that ideal or not ideal? I'm gonna say not ideal on that one, okay? Like I said, we'll start off on the easy one. Hopefully you're able to play along at home. We're gonna go not ideal. If you've used a string trimmer around dog poop, then you can understand it is not an ideal situation. A lawnmower, I can maybe make it on. String trimmers throw stuff. It's not a good situation. That's gonna probably need to be addressed for the homeowner, or find somebody else that can take care of your lawn. All right, let me give you another easy one just so you get the hang of this. Customer is a master gardener and has a landscaping plant every 3 square feet in the entire lawn. And when you go to give them a price on their lawn, they say, I really don't have that much grass, so it shouldn't cost that much. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm gonna be edging around all these little minuscule shrubs and trees that are all individually placed out in the yard, some of them with no borders around them, no mulch around them, and it just looks like a bull in a china shop to try to go through here. And you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, I wish you had no trees and it was just all grass. I'd give you a cheaper price. Ideal, not ideal? I'm afraid I'm giving away the answer by the way I described the question. Not ideal. Some people think I have very little grass. They don't understand that grass is easier to mow than getting around there edging around all their little obstacles. All right, let me give you a little harder one. The customer often forgets to pay their invoice on time, and it usually requires a text message to remind them. But every time you remind them, they leave you a $15 tip because they feel bad for being late. What do you think? Ideal, not ideal? That was a little bit harder, and again, I'm not looking for like the perfect customer, but I would slide them more toward the ideal category than the not ideal, meaning it's one I would accept and not turn down. I've got customers like this actually. They're late almost every single time, but they always pay. They're just kind of forgetful or whatever. But when I send them a message, say, hey, you know, I hadn't got your payment for the last time, they apologize, add a tip onto the balance, and we move on, and I never have to worry about it knowing I'm probably gonna have it the next time. I'll probably get another tip next time. And I just think, you know what, that text message was worth that $15 tip. No problem, I'll take you all day long. What about this one? Customer calls you, their normal mowing day is on a Tuesday, but they call you one week and say, hey, can you mow our yard on Friday? We're having a big party at our house. It's my son's birthday party. We're having a bunch of company over. Would you mind mowing the lawn on Friday morning this week to get ready for the party? What do you think? Ideal, not ideal? My answer is, if that is something that happens once a year, once every other year, understandable. If they're regularly trying to switch you around, or even worse, trying to just skip pay, oh, it didn't grow this much this week, it hadn't really been growing much, can you just skip this week and come back next week? No, that's not ideal. But I think it's understandable if somebody has a special occasion and they ask you to move it once a year or something like that. That's no big deal. I can handle that. It may be an inconvenience, but I look at that as something that I can live with. I can provide that service and even do it happily for that customer if it's an understandable situation like that. What about this one? While you're mowing the grass, the customer walks outside, waves you down, you stop the lawnmower, you get out and talk to them. They say, hey, I just got 3 little old bushes on the left side of the house. Would you mind just trimming those while you're here? And here's the catch. They actually want you to do it for free. Some people out there, okay, I'll just go ahead and give you that. This is not ideal. Some people think that you as the lawn care business provider can just throw in extra stuff for free. And the problem is, if you say, you know, you might help somebody out like that one time, okay? But some people, and you know, it's hard to say this, so you don't know always how they're like, but some people, if you do this one time, they're gonna regularly expect you to do extra little things for free, okay? And that's not included in what you're doing. So eventually you're gonna have to have a conversation, you know, well, you're paying this set price for us to mow the lawn, okay? We're gonna edge it and do the trimming, blow off the clippings, that sort of thing, but that's what the price is for. So if you want us to trim hedges or do some extra things, then that's gonna be an additional charge. I'd be happy to do it for you, and we'll tell you what the cost is up front. This one's for me doing weed control. What if a customer comes out and they want to have a 10-minute conversation about what you're doing on their lawn on that particular application? Ideal, not ideal? Actually, I find that to be okay. I'm going to put that in the ideal category. I don't mind having conversations with customers who want to understand better how to take care of their lawn, or just want to understand what I'm doing on the lawn. I actually enjoy talking to them, and I think it's absolutely their right to know what I'm doing. Now, if they want to come out, you know, 20 minutes every time I'm there, just talk about the weather, then that's going to be a problem. I mean, that can really affect your productivity, and you got customers like that. But if they're just trying to understand what's going on with their lawn, want to have a better understanding, I'm fully supportive of that, and I think that's part of my job, is to help explain it to them. Now, let me add one disclaimer on that. Some of them, you feel like they're doing that, and they're trying to tell you what to do and not wanting you to do what you're trying to do on their lawn. So I mean, they have to understand that they're hiring you for your expertise to take care of the lawn. So if you feel like they're telling you what to do, you know, and say, well, I think you need to change your program and do this, that, and the other, then that's going to be hard, you know, because I'm like, well, maybe you should do it yourself then. I'll give you an easy one for the last one. This customer you've actually never even met in person. They were a referral from a next door neighbor, and you gave them a quote, talked to them on the phone, signed them up. They pay with a credit card on file every single time, and so you just charge it every time. You're doing weekly mowings on their lawn, and every Christmas they send you a $50 tip just to thank you for the great job that you're doing on their lawn. That one's absolutely ideal, and believe it or not, there's customers like that exist, that they just pay their bill, they don't complain. Now, you gotta, as a lawn care provider, not take advantage of those people and not say, well, they always pay, I can slack up on them. No, that's the one you definitely want to do a good job for them. You don't want to lose them, and so we want to do a good job for everybody. But I mean, particularly, don't take advantage of somebody just because they pay their bill on time and you feel like you've got them in the bag. But I'm very thankful that I've got a lot of customers like that. They just pay their bill on time. They expect me to do a good job, but they even compliment the quality of the work, and that really goes a long way in our relationship, our business relationship. Fortunately, in my opinion, most customers fit into an ideal category. Like I said, not ideal, but they're definitely not in the not ideal category. Most customers are worth keeping, in my opinion. You have a few that are not ideal, and in my opinion, you do like I did with the situation with $88 a year person, as you got to try to morph them into ideal or let them go. Okay, so if they're late paying, you say, okay, you're gonna have to prepay. That just took away part of their not ideal characteristics. If they're not paying enough, you're gonna have to go up on their price. You know, you're the one that gave them initial price. Maybe it was a mistake. You raise the price, make them more of an ideal situation. They'll either fit into the ideal category or they'll leave, or you can get rid of them, however you want to look at it. It's worth mentioning when you do get rid of a customer to do it in a polite way. You're not trying to destroy the relationship, not trying to destroy the person. They are a person, you're a business. You want to do it as politely as possible. I think it's a great time to think through what is your ideal customer, who is your target customer out there. Sometimes I've been thinking through, is it small lawns, big lawns? I used to think the small lawns are more profitable, and they are more profitable, but the problem is, and this is why I was actually crunching the numbers, if somebody pays you $88 a year, I would actually need thousands of customers that size to actually make a decent living. Okay, so like a small yard that pays you $35 or $40 per time you're out there, that's great. It doesn't take long. You think, well, this is a real profitable yard. The problem is you got to have a lot of those. Okay, so you need to either get a bunch of those in the same neighborhood where you can cut down your drive time. What you don't want is a $35 yard that you got to drive 12 minutes out of the way to get to. You know, so that's the good thing about a large property. Yeah, it might not be quite as profitable, but you're not having to waste time driving and everything. So I mean, you know, there's other expenses involved in taking care of a lawn other than just the direct amount of time you're on that lawn. The time it takes you to get there, the equipment wear and tear, the employee labor and things like that. There's a lot of factors. So I'm kind of rethinking through, are larger lawns better, smaller lawns better? I'm gonna take them all, okay? I don't care. But I might have to, you know, work on my pricing, and my pricing the smaller lawns too low. I used to think, well, these are my most profitable ones. Well, yeah, maybe if they're all right there together. If you got to drive to get to one, it's only $35, then it's not nearly as profitable as you thought it was. If I've got 10 of them in the same neighborhood, now we're talking. That's great. There's gonna be a link popping up in just a second to that video that I referenced from Brian Shain. You can go check out him at Top Notch. But my encouragement is think through your ideal customer. The ones that are not ideal, you can start tweaking them to fit what you want as a customer. And again, to me, it's got to be mutual. It's got to benefit both you, the business owner, and the customer for it to work long term. I think a lot of them can do that. And that's why I like being a part of lawn care business. It's a great business to be a part of. If you hadn't done so, subscribe to the channel. I'll continue to provide more helpful videos. You can leave comments below. Click on the lawn care business channel name and you can go check out all my videos. I've got, I think, 400 and something. So go check them out. Talk to you guys later. Bye.